So I've been seeing these videos pop up about Call of Duty World War II suggesting what the problem is with winning gunfights in World War II. A lot of people are out there talking about the certain basic training called Primed. This video is going to be similar to those. I'm going to be taking a look at Primed. I have some slow-mo footage with it on and off, and I really want to look at how big of an impact Prime is and get really into the depth of some other issues that might result in better gunfights. For me personally, if I'm running around the map, I'm definitely using Primed a lot, and I have some footage here with it off first, so we're going to start with that. We're going to be running around with the MP40, but the thing with it for me is you can't pinpoint it on one thing. There are so many factors that I'll get to later on in the video that can really affect your outcome in all these gunfights. So the first one here, I was outgunned, and if we slow this down, this is with Primed off. You can see all the flinch we are taking, and I will slow it down even further for you later on. This really shows how much damage you take. You get a big red flash on your screen, and there is a subtle but very hard to recognize flinch in there. So moving on to some other gameplay, this is the same match later on. This is another gunfight that I lose. This one is from about mid-range, a little longer range than the last one. So if we slow this down, we can definitely see the flinch more here. And Primed is supposed to totally eliminate flinch and give you an extra primary attachment. It does two really good things. So if we look at this gameplay again, you can see I'm taking damage. There's actually two enemies there, which I didn't realize. And it is very hard to finish someone like that off when they're in a small place. Flinch could be the deciding factor, especially if it's mid to long range. And when I was making this video, it was actually really hard for me to pinpoint the differences. I had to look at the slow-mo multiple times. So it is very hard. It's a subtle but definitely noticeable difference when you have Primed on. So now we are going to be putting it on with the MP40 once again. And I want to use this point in the video to kind of point out the importance of attachments, specifically the grip and I believe quick draw. Every encounter in Call of Duty, when the people meet, you have both people aiming down sights trying to get their shots off and hit them as quick as possible. The thing that can speed this up the most are your attachments, and I think this is really taken for common knowledge a lot of times and definitely not regarded as something so serious. But this could definitely be the deciding factor, so if you're not taking advantage of your attachments, please do so, especially those that let you aim down the sights faster and have more steady aim while you're aiming down the sights. But yeah, I feel like the attachments are common knowledge and people have different play styles. I just wanted to add it in there in case people weren't taking advantage of those. So now let's move on with the Primed basic training on. Now with this, I wanted to show a situation where I lost just like with it off. And then I'll also show a situation where I think it definitely helped. So in this situation, I had the gun right on him, but if you notice there towards the end, I didn't even get hit markers. So this could be for a connection issue, but I feel like Primed, if you looked a little closer, you didn't really see my gun move at all. You can definitely see it a lot better in this kill. This was a kill me and a guy kind of squared up, kind of one-on-one. And there you can see I took some damage, and it is really hard to see because it is so smooth. If you notice, my gun does not flinch whatsoever, and I get the kill quickly and can move on. And it barely even makes my screen red. I mean, if you look, it's just barely a slight flash. The difference is very subtle, so let's slow this down even more. This is the first kill with Prime off. Pay really close attention to the reticule at the end of the gun. You can see my gun barely bouncing at all until I'm hit with that bullet. That second to last bullet before I die, you can really tell the gun kind of pops up, especially when compared to this kill. If you pay attention to the reticule, I do not flinch whatsoever. I keep the reticule on the chest and finish him off. So that to me is a subtle but effective difference in the Primed. If you have it off, it's definitely going to affect your long-range weapon kills. If you're one that kind of sits back and gets the long-range weapon kills, I think you should definitely have it on. But if you're on a small map just running around, I don't think you would necessarily need it. It would definitely help you in any situation, because even if you're running around, you're going to find, you know, one or two enemies longer distance that you might want to try to engage with. So be sure to keep that in mind. I definitely think Primed helps in the long run, but it's not the only factor affecting you winning gunfights or not. So yeah, the rest of this video is just going to me talking over the gameplay, kind of put in my thoughts for winning gunfights. I feel like pretty much every video I saw on this here in the last week or so definitely always mentions primed and claims that to be the secret, as if people haven't already used it. The only downside is you don't unlock it till level 32. So if you're going through the prestiges, that's a downside to primed. I definitely think it does help, especially if you're in a long range battle. It seems like you flinch a lot, and when you have a smaller target farther away, it's definitely going to be harder to hit that target. One of the more important things, though, I already mentioned is the attachments. I feel like that's more common knowledge than anything. But once again, if you're not taking advantage of grip or like quick draw, that is a must if you're definitely finding yourself struggling in gunfights. So besides that and primed, what are the other factors? Now, I really thought about this lately, and bottom line is when you come down to a game like Call of Duty that's widely played, easy to pick up, you're definitely going to have some insane skill gaps. There are people in matchmaking who play this game on a pro level for actual money, and then there are people who get this, later on people will be getting it for Christmas. Might be their very first Call of Duty they've ever played. So bottom line is, the more you play, the more naturally you will get better. For mechanics, Call of Duty World War II, I feel like is more of a spongy game than past Call of Duties. I only mention this because Call of Duty is typically known as like quick damage, quick kills. But this game is definitely more spongy to me because I am an old Call of Duty player, and I think a lot of people playing this game are returning to Call of Duty after being absent for a long time. For me, one of the best games and one of the ones I played the most was Black Ops, but second to that was World War II, and a lot of people really stopped playing around World War II or that time period. And what struck me the most, being one of those players in Modern Warfare 2, was the amount of damage it took in those games compared to this game. When I first picked up this game, I was struggling to get the basics going. I was struggling to win gunfights myself. I just thought I sucked because I've been out of Call of Duty for so long. I've been playing other games. But when I thought about it more, it comes down to the basics of the game. This game is really more spongy, meaning that enemies just take slightly more bullets to kill. Or maybe the guns were toned down or something. Something in the physics of the game just changed it. You can definitely tell, kills are way easier in Modern Warfare 2 than World War 2. Granted, the games are very far apart now, but like I said, a lot of players coming to Call of Duty World War II, a reason why we're seeing this being the most well-performed Call of Duties, on launch weekend than we have in recent years, is because those hardcore players back in the day, or old school players, are coming back to the Call of Duty franchise because it reminds them so much of those times. So that for me really led me into thinking, why am I losing these gunfights, and really wanted me to do all this research. And other than that, just find a weapon you guys love. Practice does make you better. It took me a while to get in the groove of Call of Duty World War II. And yeah, just keep it up, guys. These are the best tips I have for making you better at gunfights. If you have any more, let me know in the comments below. And as always, we'll see you next time. Peace.